She's going to speak, Jordan whispered under his breath as the sun dipped low behind the sprawling campus of Westbrook Academy, casting long shadows across the manicured lawns and gleaming marble steps, the kind of place where every corner echoed wealth, and the scent of polished oak drifted through the air like a quiet proclamation of privilege. Emily Harrison sat alone on a painted white bench near the edge of the courtyard, small hands clasped tightly over her lap, her blonde hair falling in soft waves around a face that had never formed words, a delicate silence hanging around her like a fragile glass dome. Students walked past in pairs and clusters, laughter and chatter blending into the faint hum of the distant city. Yet no one noticed the little girl except for Jordan, whose worn sneakers scuffed the concrete as he approached, backpack sagging under the weight of books and folded clothes, the cold breeze tugging at his sleeves, carrying the faint smell of rain and asphalt. He crouched a few feet away, eyes locking on hers with a calm intensity that made the world around them seem to slow, his voice just above a whisper. "Emily, it's okay, you can try." And in that instant the sounds of the academy seemed to fade, the fountain splashing quietly, the leaves rustling in the wind, everything framing the moment like a cinematic pause. Jordan reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, well-worn music box. The paint chipped along the edges, the key turned slowly between his fingers until it began to play a soft, tinkling melody that had a warm, trembling quality, his gaze never leaving Emily's. And for the first time, a tiny flicker crossed her wide blue eyes, the corners of her lips twitching as if the music had struck something deep and unspoken inside her. Mr. Harrison's footsteps echoed from the marble hallway leading to the courtyard, a crisp navy blazer, polished shoes, and the subtle scent of cologne marking the arrival of the man who had built an empire and lived by contracts and schedules. Yet Jordan did not flinch, his heart thudding in measured anticipation, the wind brushing against his dark curls, as he adjusted the angle of the music box to catch Emily's attention. And then, as the last notes danced through the air, a single, tremulous sound escaped her lips. A word formed against the silence that had held her for nearly 10 years. A whisper, fragile yet distinct. "Hello." And in that heartbeat the world seemed to inhale, the distance between privilege and struggle collapsing into a shared, electric connection. Mr. Harrison froze mid-step, eyes widening, the polished marble beneath his feet reflecting the stunned expression of a father who had never imagined that a simple act of courage from a poor black boy could awaken the voice of his daughter. Jordan smiled softly, letting the melody linger in the air, the afternoon sun catching the golden strands of Emily's hair, the shadows shifting to frame a tableau of wonder and quiet triumph. The fountain glimmered, birds paused mid-flight, and for a single, perfect moment, the courtyard held its breath, witnessing the impossible made real by a boy's bravery and a girl's first word. The courtyard seemed suspended in a rare moment of quiet, the soft tinkling of the music box fading into the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant hum of city traffic. Jordan stood a few feet away from Emily, his chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm as he watched her small hand twitch slightly over her lap, a visible sign that the sound of her own voice had sparked something new within her. Mr. Harrison remained frozen near the marble steps, the polished shoes of his dark suit, reflecting the late afternoon light, his eyes wide with disbelief and an almost tangible mixture of awe and uncertainty. The students passing by slowed as whispers began to ripple through the courtyard, curiosity replacing indifference. The principal appeared at the edge of the scene, adjusting her glasses, her gaze sharp yet hesitant, as she noticed the unusual tableau. Jordan crouched a little lower, tilting the music box so that the melody danced gently toward Emily, careful to keep the fragile connection unbroken. And softly he said, "You are safe now, Emily. Just try one more word." And the sound of his voice, calm and deliberate, seemed to wrap around her like a protective blanket, the golden sunlight caught in the strands of her hair as she blinked slowly, her gaze finally locking onto his, the silence between them charged with anticipation. Mr. Harrison stepped forward tentatively, his hands rising slightly, unsure of how to approach, and Jordan remained still, unwavering, eyes steady, sending a silent signal that he would not allow the moment to be disturbed. A gentle breeze stirred the air, carrying the faint scent of freshly cut grass and the subtle warmth of the sun-baked marble. Emily's lips parted once more, forming a hesitant syllable, soft but distinct, a bridge between the quiet of years and the sound of life entering the world around her. Gasps and murmurs began to circulate among the onlookers. Yet Jordan's presence, calm and firm, held the space safe. Mr. Harrison's hands trembled ever so slightly as he took a cautious step closer, the expression on his face slowly melting from shock into a tentative, fragile hope. He knelt down to be closer to Emily's level, careful not to startle her, his eyes moist, reflecting the delicate awe of a father witnessing a miracle wrought by courage and kindness. Jordan gently offered the music box to Emily, letting the melody continue, and she reached out with her small, trembling fingers to touch it, her eyes widening as if recognizing the gift and the intention behind it. The courtyard seemed to hold its breath, the late sun casting long, soft shadows that interlaced with the gleaming marble. The distant laughter of children faded into background hums, replaced by the fragile heartbeat of connection. Mr. Harrison softly said her name, Emily, his voice low but resonant, and she repeated it, the word clearer this time, vibrating with the tentative strength of a voice reawakened. Jordan smiled gently, a quiet satisfaction, lighting his face, the understanding passing between them unspoken but deeply felt. The principal's lips parted slightly, the staff frozen in place, the world outside the academy walls seeming to pause in recognition of the extraordinary moment. And as Emily's gaze remained fixed on Jordan, a bond of trust and courage was cemented, the sun lowering further, bathing the courtyard in a soft, amber glow. The fountain nearby, catching the light in sparkling droplets, a living emblem of the gentle triumph of persistence, kindness, and the courage to reach across divides. Mr. Harrison reached a tentative hand toward Jordan in gratitude, the gesture small but significant, an acknowledgement of the boy's bravery and the unspoken role he had played in bridging silence and fear. Emily's lips curled slightly into a smile, her first real expression of connection in years, and Jordan nodded, allowing the moment to linger, letting the courtyard hold onto the fragile magic of discovery and the unfolding promise of words and warmth that would forever change their lives. The golden light of late afternoon stretched across the courtyard, glinting off the marble pathways and the small fountain near the academy entrance, casting long shadows that seemed to dance alongside the few remaining students who had lingered to witness the quiet miracle unfolding. Jordan stood close to Emily, his hand still gently holding the music box, the soft melody mingling with the distant calls of birds and the whisper of wind through the trees. And he said softly, "Try saying it again, one more time." The words carrying warmth and reassurance, a protective cadence that seemed to cocoon Emily from the curious gazes of teachers and classmates alike. Her small fingers rested lightly on the music box, the movement deliberate and slow, as if feeling the vibrations of sound and courage together, while her wide blue eyes met Jordan's dark brown gaze with a hesitant spark of understanding and trust. Mr. Harrison remained a few steps back, his polished shoes catching the waning sunlight, hands slightly raised as though ready to intervene, yet restrained by the wonder of witnessing his daughter's first clear words. The courtyard itself seemed to lean in, the echo of distant footsteps and soft laughter fading as if the world held its breath. The principal, standing near the edge of the marble steps, adjusted her glasses and glanced quickly at the janitor who had paused mid-sweep, both silently acknowledging the extraordinary patience and determination of the boy who had refused to let fear or doubt interrupt the delicate emergence of a voice long silenced. Jordan tilted the music box slightly, so the final notes spiraled toward Emily, careful not to overwhelm her senses, the gentle chime mingling with the scent of sun-warmed grass and polished wood. And as he whispered her name softly, Emily's lips moved again, forming a word, tentative yet unmistakable. A bridge between years of quiet isolation and the soft awakening of speech. Mr. Harrison's hands instinctively reached toward the boy, a subtle acknowledgement of the courage and empathy that had created this moment. The faint hum of the academy's heating vents mingled with the soft tinkling of the music box, and the small shadows of leaves on the marble danced across Emily's pale face, accentuating the wonder and fragility of her expression. Jordan gave a small nod of encouragement, his chest rising slowly with controlled breaths, every movement deliberate to maintain the safe space around her. Emily repeated the word once more, stronger this time, a slight curl of her lips suggesting recognition and pleasure. The courtyard seemed to pulse with a quiet, cinematic rhythm, the fountain droplets catching the sunlight like tiny prisms, the distant sounds of the city providing a gentle, unobtrusive background as the moment stretched, intimate and profound. Mr. Harrison stepped cautiously closer, lowering himself to kneel beside Emily without breaking the fragile connection, his eyes soft and reflective, silently expressing gratitude, awe, and relief all at once. And Jordan, standing a step back, allowed the boy's bravery to shine, his small frame radiating quiet confidence. The music box's final notes lingering in the air like a whispered promise of possibility. Emily's voice, fragile yet distinct, wove through the space between them, threading an invisible tapestry of trust, courage, and human connection. The sun dipped lower, bathing the courtyard in a warm amber glow that touched every marble step, every leaf, and every wide-eyed observer, crystallizing the moment as one of shared triumph, hope, and the unspoken understanding that a single act of kindness and determination could awaken not only a voice, but a world of possibility. The sun had begun its slow descent, painting the courtyard in shades of amber and gold, the marble steps reflecting the warm glow as Jordan remained kneeling a few feet from Emily, keeping the music box steady in his hands while the gentle chime carried across the space, each note mingling with the distant laughter of students and the soft rustle of leaves in the wind. Emily's eyes shimmered with a newfound awareness, her small hands moving ever so slightly as she reached toward the music box, and her lips parted once more, forming another tentative word, friend, the syllable delicate yet clear, sending a ripple of astonishment through Mr. Harrison, who had remained crouched nearby, eyes wide, heart pounding with an unfamiliar mix of awe and hope. The courtyard seemed to hold its breath as the word lingered between them, the fountain gurgling quietly behind, droplets catching the sunlight like tiny fragments of liquid gold. The principal stepped a little closer, her expression softened, recognizing the profound impact of the moment without uttering a single sound. Jordan's voice, calm and encouraging, floated across the courtyard. That is perfect, Emily. You are doing so well. And in response, Emily's blue eyes met his, the connection electric yet tender. Mr. Harrison, his polished shoes scuffing lightly against the marble, instinctively leaned in closer, careful not to disturb the fragile rhythm of trust being built. The wind shifted, carrying with it the faint scent of freshly mown grass and the distant warmth of the afternoon sun. Emily's voice wavered, forming another word, play, and a smile, subtle but radiant, touched her lips, illuminating the courtyard with the light of discovery and courage. Jordan nodded, his chest rising and falling in measured anticipation, every movement deliberate to maintain the safe space he had created. The music box's soft tinkling continued, a gentle underscore to the unfolding scene. The students nearby paused in their tracks, whispers circulating like tiny currents of excitement as they witnessed the quiet triumph. Mr. Harrison's hands were slightly extended toward both children, a gesture of acknowledgement and gratitude, while the principal watched, noting the seamless blending of patience, bravery, and empathy that had orchestrated this extraordinary moment. Emily repeated the word play once more, her confidence growing, her small hand resting on the music box as if claiming a piece of her voice for herself. The fountain's droplets caught the light in sparkling arcs, the shadows of the leaves shifting gently across the marble, casting patterns that seemed to move in harmony with the delicate rhythm of her newfound speech. Jordan's smile remained calm, yet triumphant, aware that his small act of courage had bridged years of silence. The sun lowered further, bathing the courtyard in a soft, golden haze, the warmth of the afternoon enveloping both children and father in a cinematic embrace. Mr. Harrison's eyes glistened, lips parted in awe, and a whispered, "Thank you," directed toward Jordan. The boy's quiet heroism acknowledged without ceremony. Emily's smile broadened slightly, a sparkle of life and connection dancing in her eyes, and in that suspended moment, the courtyard existed as a perfect confluence of trust, bravery, and the gentle power of human kindness. Every sound, light, and movement harmonizing to create a tableau of hope and the transformative impact of compassion. The courtyard had settled into a calm rhythm, the late afternoon sun casting long, gentle shadows across the marble pathways and the fountain sending sparkling droplets into the air. Jordan remained crouched beside Emily, his hands steady on the music box as the final notes lingered softly, the small chimes intertwining with the distant hum of the city and the subtle rustle of leaves. Emily's lips parted again, forming a simple word, "Thank you," her voice fragile yet unmistakably clear. And in that moment, the stillness of years seemed to dissolve. Mr. Harrison stepped closer, his polished shoes making soft impressions on the marble, his expression a mixture of awe and relief, eyes fixed on the boy whose quiet courage had bridged the gap between silence and speech. The principal, standing near the edge of the courtyard, tilted her head, watching intently as the boy and the girl shared the briefest of glances, a spark of understanding passing between them without a single additional word. Jordan offered a small, encouraging smile, his chest rising and falling in measured breaths, aware that every movement needed to maintain the fragile confidence that Emily had found. The breeze carried the scent of grass, marble, and the faint warmth of sunlight, mingling to create a gentle, comforting atmosphere. Emily's small hand moved tentatively toward Jordan's as she repeated the word, "Thank you," her eyes wide and shining with a mixture of wonder and trust. Mr. Harrison lowered himself slightly, careful not to intrude on the delicate moment, his voice soft as he said, "She is amazing," his words directed toward no one in particular, but echoing through the courtyard like a quiet declaration. The students nearby had stopped in their tracks, whispers circulating in muted astonishment as they witnessed the unexpected unfolding of courage and empathy. Jordan tilted the music box so that the final notes reached Emily clearly, allowing her to experience the sound as an extension of his encouragement. The fountain's droplets caught the sunlight in fleeting prisms, the shadows of leaves moving slowly across the marble in harmony with the moment. Emily repeated the word again, stronger this time, her voice threading through the courtyard with a gentle resonance that seemed to slow time itself. Mr. Harrison extended a tentative hand toward Jordan, a small but significant gesture of gratitude and acknowledgement, and Jordan, recognizing the weight of the moment, nodded subtly, his eyes still fixed on Emily, ensuring she felt the safety and support he had provided. The soft hum of distant activity faded further, leaving only the sound of Emily's voice, the tinkling of the music box, and the gentle splashing of the fountain. The sunlight shifted to a deeper amber, bathing the courtyard in warmth, and the three of them, Jordan, Emily, and Mr. Harrison, remained connected in that quiet, cinematic moment, each breath, each glance, and each small gesture woven into a tableau of trust, bravery, and the transformative power of kindness. The courtyard alive, yet suspended, as if holding onto the delicate miracle that had quietly taken place in the space between two worlds. The golden glow of the late afternoon sun lingered over the courtyard, casting long, soft shadows across the marble pathways and the fountain that glimmered like scattered crystals. Jordan remained kneeling beside Emily, his dark eyes steady and encouraging as he gently guided her hands toward the music box, allowing her to feel the vibrations of sound while forming each word. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying the faint scent of sun-warmed grass and polished stone. The distant murmur of students moving between classes faded into a gentle hush, making space for the delicate rhythm of Emily's voice as she repeated each syllable slowly, cautiously, her blue eyes bright with awareness and curiosity. Mr. Harrison crouched a few steps away, careful not to crowd or startle her, the warm sunlight reflecting off his polished shoes and suit, his hands slightly raised in tentative support, every motion deliberate to convey reassurance without breaking the fragile moment. The principal and a few staff members had paused at the edge of the courtyard, the subtle rise and fall of their breaths mingling with the soft trickle of the fountain, their eyes wide with quiet astonishment. Jordan tilted the music box just slightly, allowing the final notes to drift fully toward Emily, the delicate chimes interweaving with the faint rustle of leaves. Emily's small lips parted once more, forming a clear word, yes. The clarity in her voice sending a gentle ripple of awe through the courtyard. The sunlight caught the strands of her hair, illuminating the soft curl at her temple, her small hand brushing lightly against the music box as if claiming a new part of herself. Mr. Harrison leaned in a bit further, eyes moist, mouth slightly parted in a silent marvel. Jordan's chest rose and fell steadily, a calm smile playing at the corners of his lips as he silently celebrated the trust and courage that had blossomed between them. The courtyard seemed suspended in time. Every droplet from the fountain, every flicker of sunlight, every rustle of leaves, and every whisper of wind contributing to the quiet, cinematic moment. Emily repeated the word once more, firmer this time, a small smile lifting her delicate features. Jordan gave a soft nod of encouragement. Remaining still to preserve the safety of the space he had carefully created, Mr. Harrison extended a tentative hand toward both children, the subtle gesture a bridge of acknowledgement, gratitude, and recognition of the bravery and kindness that had enabled this transformation. The air was warm and golden, the shadows stretching across the courtyard, the soft tinkling of the music box providing an almost magical undertone. Emily's confidence grew with each word, her gaze lingering on Jordan with a mixture of trust and wonder. The faint hum of the academy and the distant city seemed to fade entirely, leaving only the three of them connected in that shared, quiet triumph. The sun lowering further, bathing the scene in a gentle amber light, the courtyard holding its breath as a tableau of courage, empathy, and human connection unfolded, each glance, breath, and subtle gesture threading together the extraordinary bond that had quietly formed between a poor boy, a girl finding her voice, and a father learning the power of attentive presence. The amber light of the late afternoon deepened as shadows stretched across the courtyard, the fountain sparkling with tiny prisms that danced across the marble. Jordan remained kneeling beside Emily, his hands steady on the music box while its final delicate chimes filled the quiet space. Emily's lips parted again, this time forming the word friendship, her voice soft but clear, carrying through the courtyard and touching every corner with a sense of wonder and possibility. Mr. Harrison's eyes widened, a mixture of disbelief and awe washing over him as he watched his daughter speak words that had never left her lips before. The sunlight glinting off his polished shoes and navy suit reflected the gravity of the moment. The principal and a few staff members lingered at the edge of the marble steps, the gentle rustle of leaves and faint breeze making their presence almost ghostly as they witnessed the extraordinary unfolding of courage and human connection. Jordan tilted the music box slightly, allowing the melody to reach Emily fully, the vibrations seeming to echo the unspoken bond forming between the two children. Emily's small hand hovered over the music box before resting lightly on it, feeling the warmth of the sound and the support it represented. Her blue eyes met Jordan's dark brown ones with an intensity that conveyed gratitude, trust, and recognition all at once. Mr. Harrison, kneeling slightly closer to maintain a respectful distance, let his hands hover in front of him, a subtle gesture of acknowledgement and protective encouragement. The courtyard seemed suspended in time. Every ripple from the fountain, every shifting shadow, every sigh of wind threading together to frame the quiet, cinematic tableau. Emily repeated the word friendship. Once more, a bit stronger, more confident, her small smile illuminating her pale face and softening the late afternoon light that bathed the space. Jordan nodded slightly, maintaining the calm and steady presence that had enabled this fragile breakthrough. The distant hum of the city and faint chatter of students had all but faded, leaving only the resonance of Emily's voice, the gentle chimes, and the muted gurgle of water. Mr. Harrison extended a tentative hand toward Jordan, a small acknowledgement of the bravery, empathy, and patience that had bridged silence and speech, and Jordan, aware of the weight of this gesture, gave a quiet nod, allowing the moment to linger and the connection between the children to remain uninterrupted. The sun sank lower, painting the courtyard in deeper hues of gold and amber, the fountain droplets catching the light like tiny beacons of hope. Emily's voice continued to gain strength with each repetition, her confidence growing visibly, and with every word, every glance, and every soft smile shared between Jordan and Emily, the courtyard became a living testament to the transformative power of kindness, patience, and human connection, the gentle rhythm of their interaction echoing like a quiet melody through the warm, amber-lit space, binding the three of them, Jordan, Emily, and Mr. Harrison, in a moment of shared triumph, understanding, and the unspoken promise that bravery and compassion can create bridges between worlds that once seemed impossibly far apart. The courtyard glowed with the soft, fading light of early evening, the amber rays reflecting off the marble and dancing across the small fountain. Jordan remained kneeling beside Emily, hands steady on the music box as the delicate chimes played, the subtle vibration flowing through the air like a bridge connecting their worlds. Emily's small lips parted once again, forming the word thankful, her voice steady and clear, resonating through the courtyard with a sense of wonder and newfound confidence. Mr. Harrison leaned slightly closer, his polished shoes brushing the marble as he carefully extended a hand, a silent gesture of pride and recognition for the boy who had opened the door to his daughter's voice. Jordan's eyes met Emily's, a soft nod conveying patience, encouragement, and the quiet satisfaction of a mission fulfilled. The principal and a few lingering staff members observed from a distance, their expressions a mixture of astonishment and admiration. The gentle hum of the city in the background fading as the courtyard held a suspended calm, sunlight catching the strands of Emily's hair, highlighting the pale gold that framed her small, expressive face. The wind stirred gently, carrying the scent of freshly cut grass and the warm aroma of the stone beneath their feet. The fountain droplets glittered, catching every ray of light as if celebrating the moment with sparkling applause. Emily repeated the word once more, stronger, more deliberate, her blue eyes shining with recognition and the spark of empowerment. Jordan kept his posture calm, steady, and reassuring, his presence a silent promise that he would remain, guiding without overwhelming. Mr. Harrison's chest rose and fell with a quiet mixture of relief and amazement, his gaze fixed on both children, silently acknowledging the courage, empathy, and determination that had transformed a silent world into one filled with words. The courtyard seemed to breathe with them, the soft trickle of the fountain and the gentle rustling of leaves marking a rhythm that mirrored the unfolding bond between boy and girl. Emily's hand rested lightly on the music box, her small fingers brushing the worn edges as if to feel the connection that had awakened her. Jordan's smile remained calm yet triumphant, the tension of the day dissolving into a warm, cinematic stillness. Mr. Harrison finally spoke, his voice low and tender. "You both have given me something I did not even know I was missing." And the words hung in the golden air, acknowledging the bridge of understanding, trust, and courage that had been quietly constructed. The shadows grew longer, wrapping the courtyard in a serene embrace. the light catching the droplets of the fountain in miniature prisms, Emily's. Confidence radiated subtly with each word she formed. The music box's gentle notes fading slowly, but leaving behind a lingering sense of magic and accomplishment. Jordan's presence continued to provide reassurance, the calm anchor in a moment that had shifted time itself. The courtyard, bathed in amber light, seemed to celebrate the quiet triumph of patience, bravery, and human kindness. Every glance, every breath, every subtle movement threading together a tableau of connection, understanding, and the transformative power of empathy that would linger long after the final notes had ceased. The sun had dipped lower, the courtyard now bathed in a soft, dusky light that softened the marble and painted long, graceful shadows across the pathways. Jordan remained kneeling beside Emily, his hands steady on the music box as the faint chimes echoed, carrying a gentle, lingering warmth through the space. Emily's small lips parted once more, forming the word together, her voice clear, deliberate, resonating with a strength that had not existed before. Mr. Harrison took a careful step, closer, his polished shoes whispering across the marble, eyes wide, reflecting awe, relief, and an overwhelming sense of pride as he witnessed the transformation of a silent world into one of speech and connection. Jordan's gaze met Emily's, calm, encouraging, a quiet smile acknowledging the courage and trust that had brought them to this moment. The principal and a few staff members watched silently from the edge of the courtyard, their expressions softened by the gravity of the scene. The wind stirred lightly, carrying the scent of warm stone, sun-warmed grass, and the faint fragrance of nearby flowers. The fountain glimmered as droplets caught the fading sunlight, the courtyard alive with a subtle, cinematic rhythm. Emily repeated the word once more, together, slightly stronger, her blue eyes bright with wonder and a spark of confidence. Jordan adjusted the music box slightly, tilting it so that the final notes flowed fully toward her, allowing the sound to reinforce the connection that had blossomed between them. Mr. Harrison lowered himself gently to his knees, keeping a respectful distance, hands slightly raised, a quiet, protective acknowledgement of the bravery, empathy, and patience that had opened this bridge between silence and speech. Emily's small hand rested lightly on the music box, her fingers brushing the worn edges. Feeling both the physical vibration and the intangible comfort it provided, the courtyard seemed suspended, the soft gurgle of the fountain, the rustling leaves, and the faint city hum fading into the background as if the world itself held its breath. The amber light wrapped around them, softening every line and every shadow, every glance and subtle movement threaded into a tapestry of trust, courage, and human kindness. Jordan's presence remained steady, an anchor of calm and reassurance. Emily's confidence grew with each repetition, her small smile widening as she felt her voice emerge. Mr. Harrison's eyes glistened, a soft, whispered thank you escaping his lips directed toward Jordan. The gesture small but immense in meaning, the soft tinkling of the music box fading into quiet, leaving behind a lasting sense of magic and accomplishment. Emily's gaze remained fixed on Jordan with trust and gratitude. The courtyard, bathed in deepening twilight, seemed to celebrate the quiet triumph of patience, courage, and empathy. Every light reflection on the marble, every drifting leaf, every gentle ripple of the fountain holding the memory of this extraordinary moment, binding Jordan, Emily, and Mr. Harrison in a tableau of connection, understanding, and the enduring power of human kindness, a shared victory that would echo quietly through the golden space long after the last note had ceased.